Hi everyone, I'm Miranda Walton with Restorative Pathways Counseling, and I am here today to answer the question, what are the biggest challenges to mental health that we are facing right now in our world? And there's a lot. I'm sure that's not a surprise to anyone that we have had a lot of stuff happening in this last year, including, shocker, the pandemic that we've been facing. We've also had a lot of political unrest and a lot of social and racial tension in our country. And with all of that comes a lot of different side effects and consequences, right? We've got a lot of loss and grief, just from losing loved ones from the pandemic. There's a lot of loss and grief that comes from that, but there's a lot of loss and grief that comes with transition and unknowns and changes and our loss of our sense of autonomy, of just being able to do whatever we want when we want and being able to go out. We've lost a lot of social support and social connection through quarantine and through the shutdowns and everything. So there's been a lot of fear and anxiety and stress that has come with all of those things happening. There's a lot of turbulence. And then, like I said, we add all of the political and social and racial tension on top of that. And that is a pretty wild concoction that we've been handed. So on top of all of that, we have just in general social media exposure. I think over the last decade, there's been an increase in this exposure to 24/7 of what we are, what's going on around the world and all the things that I don't think are built to know all of the time, right? And we don't shut it down. So our mind is constantly exposed, it's constantly running, it's constantly processing things, and our brains aren't built to work that way. Our brains are built to shut down and have time to rest and to slow down and to recharge and kind of process that information. And so when we're not getting that, when we're just exposed all of the time, then it's going to affect our memory, it's going to affect our sleep, it's going to affect our stress levels, and so on and so on and so on. And so I think that exposure to social media and the news and just it's anywhere and everywhere, and even in conversations, our conversations have shifted and the content of our conversations. And we add into that, there's been a shift in just general love and respect for people. I think that, somewhere along the lines, we've lost our ability to kind of connect with humanity and just respect and appreciate each other for who we are, despite our differences. I can think back to, times when who we voted for instance, we didn't talk about that. That was a private matter. And it seems like nowadays there's a lot of conversation over private things and personally held beliefs that have become very polarized, potentially politicized. And then there's a lot of what turns into character attacks. It affects our ability to connect with everybody socially. It affects our ability to trust and to feel safe around other people because we don't know who we're going to offend or who we're going to hurt or who we're going to be hurt by. So there's just a lot of turmoil that comes from all of this exposure and this transition that we've had in the content of our conversations. And then finally, just as a general thing, I always talk about how our society is not good at slowing down, and we have this stress and achievement culture, and so we're always on the go and we're always run. And even when we had the shutdown with the pandemic, a lot of us, rather than shifting into rest mode, shifted into survival mode because there was so much happening around us that we just didn't know and didn't understand, didn't know what to believe and everything. And so, I think there's a reason why God gave the Israelites a Sabbath day, because he knew that we needed rest. And we've gotten very far away from being able to give ourselves that time to rest and recharge. So just a couple of tips to help, with your mental health and wellness, with all of the stuff that's going on, even still. One, make it a habit to unplug from social media regularly, and that also goes for the internet in general, news sources, and even conversations with others, especially if they're tense conversations. We need time to step away and to be with ourselves or be with our loved ones and to slow down and to not be exposed to tense and stressful topics all of the time. So make an effort to unplug. Another one would be grounding yourself in what truly matters to you in this moment. As Christians and followers of Christ, we are called to a specific purpose and mission to focus on glorifying the Lord and making disciples, right? And so I think a lot of times we can get caught up in living in this world, right? And just the worldly matters, those fleshly matters, those things that we're exposed to 24/7, we can get caught up into things that if we don't give ourselves a bit of a reality check, right, with that eternal mindset of, does this really matter from an eternal perspective? Does this matter? Does this equip me to help lift other people up? Does it allow me to love them better? Does it allow me to love myself? If we're doing things that are affecting us negatively, we need to be able to set personal boundaries with that and to step away from that. And to, like I said, just ground ourselves into the things that we value and that truly matter and that are helping propel us towards that mission and purpose. And finally, just making sure that you're incorporating self-care and stress management strategies in. I'd encourage you to incorporate a Sabbath day or even Sabbath moments into your day, just moments where you can slow down, reflect, be quiet with yourself. And I think a lot of times that's hard because our mind is constantly going. So if you're struggling with incorporating any of these things or you feel like these are out of your reach, I would always encourage you to talk to a provider, find a counselor, talk to a pastor, talk to a friend, get the support that you need so that you can implement these things to help move you forward towards your mental health and wellness.